Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're at Authentic Conversations presented by Transition Clarity. I'm your host, Adele Bernard, and today is my pleasure to introduce Damion Parsons, from founder of Size Wise Closet Coach. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, Adele.
Okay, so let's just go back a little bit. Share your story with our listeners of how you ended up becoming um, an entrepreneur in clothing and more so clothing for women, which I think is
Well, it's
fascinating.
yeah, it's actually clothing for everyone, and thanks for
Okay.
asking the question. So it was very serendipitous how I got into the field. My background is actually a creative director. I design mobile apps and digital experiences, and I've been doing that for a long time. And because of the experience of kind of creating these environments for people and industries, corporations, brand, bridging the gap between what the issue is that their clients are facing and meeting the objectives of their clients. I found an opportunity in building a platform, which I'm calling Sizewise Closet Coach, to help people embrace themselves through fashion in a sustainable way. My grandmother, she was a seamstress. So growing up in a house filled with cousins, aunts, and uncles. The hand-me-downs were common, but they were all altered to fit. So understanding that knowledge early allowed me to make better decisions getting dressed. And coming to the US, realized that everyone wasn't privy to having a grandmother that altered their hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
So people used to come to me and they still do, and I have a business around it, but asking me like how to dress or where did I, find clothing, where do I shop? And by the way, they're asking this all while I'm wearing like Target t-shirts and Converse, like really simple concept closets or capsule closet approach to just dressing up well. And I realized that it was a bigger issue than I thought, so much so that yeah, we spent over $800 billion last year on returns.
On returns.
Yeah, on just returns, 800 billion with a B. And that number has risen since I started the project. So about 4 or 5 years ago, it was hovering around 350 billion. And as of last year, it's over 800 billion in returns.
Okay, let's just clarify. That's not your company. That's like in retail.
That's in general. Yeah, that's
Okay, I was like,
retail returns. Yeah,
at
yeah.
first I was going, what kind of sales are you doing that you can get $800 billion in returns? But I mean, I'd be like, hats off to you. Go for it.
Yeah, and a big part of what we do is a sustainability play. It's helping people make better decisions about where they're purchasing, if they need to purchase, and just figure out better ways of keeping the stuff that you already have instead of doing this buy return practice that we've been accustomed to.
Well, and I get it because I wasn't the hand me down, but I was the can you take this in? Can you pluck this? Can you taper that? Right? Because um I was always the like the apple with the stick legs. So nothing fit, right?
Right,
Nothing looked good, right? Um, you know, and yeah, and I also like you were saying about, the friend saying, well, how do you put this together? How do you get that together? Right. And it's like, and it doesn't matter the pricing because you could buy $1,000 shirt and if it doesn't look good, it doesn't look good. It doesn't matter, right? Someone sold you the goods because they wanted to make the commissions.
right.
And yeah, and I'm very bad for going with a friend to, buy some clothes and someone else that I don't know comes out of the change room and my face says it like nope before I even get asked. So so we need people like you in your company in this world to help people feel their best,
Absolutely.
right? And just having that tradition of, the in-house seamstress with your mom and your grandmother, and and knowing that, things are going to be coming down to you, but you're still going to look put together. You're not going to look like the scrappy little kid that can't afford anything.
A big part of it too, and I'm realizing this now, it wasn't something I was always conscious about. Being able to wear hand-me-downs or whatever my grandmother made for me, it allowed me to have that kind of self-assurance that I could show up anywhere. I didn't have to second guess what I was wearing. I trusted what she made. And a part of it too is me wearing this tie today. So my school
Okay.
uniform was a part of wearing ties and epaulets. And yeah, just having, I mean, even looking back at my high school pictures, you could see that there was a difference, right? And in me versus the other boys, like it wasn't baggy, it wasn't loose, it fit well. So it was there, but it was invisible. And I think being in that type of ecosystem where clothes was a function and you could forget about it because it fit allowed you to be present.
And but that brings us to a different avenue of being present. Like, what's the point of going to school if you're not even physically present in your body to be there? You're not listening to anything. You're
Right.
not thinking about this, or this doesn't fit, or this is too tight, or, like, will anyone notice if I've done do my button because it's too tight, right? And here you're like, I'm just walking in, I'm presenting, I'm being present, I'm getting all the knowledge I can, right? And that's very cool. And it's clothes don't make the person, but they sure help you stand up confident to be able to walk into that room.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this company? Like like when did you decide to switch over from the digital directorship to doing Side Splice?
Well, the switch hasn't been made yet. I'm still a creative director. I'm still working, and it's a part of my day to day. A lot of what I've done with the brand is from the stuff that I've learned in developing my craft. So, as a user experience designer and a graphic designer, a lot of what you see is from the skill sets that I've gathered. I
Mm-hmm.
started it around 7 years ago, officially
Okay.
made the decision to just buckle down and get it done. And the reason it took so long is, if you're gonna eat an elephant, you do it one bite at a time, right? And that was kind of the process for me. First, I had to figure out one, if I could build it, what the technology was, the requirements, uh, you can see a trademark in the name below my face.
Yes.
So taking care of that was something new to me. I've never done before. The calculator that I designed is patented. So I had to figure out how to get a patent. So there were all these things that I knew I wanted in place before I started sharing it, announcing it, and it had to work. And the analogy I use is it was like building a house before you invited people over to hang out.
Very
And
cool.
that was the process. It was just, pouring foundation, putting up the beams and the roofs and the tiles. Because the thing is, and I've seen this a lot, especially in startup, a lot of people start companies on a napkin. A lot of people start ideas on a conversation
Yeah.
and they can sell the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And that approach to me is risky. It's brave, but it's risky because one, if you're good enough to sell an idea on a napkin, you're a good salesperson. So now the chase is how can I build this thing quick enough because I've already told 10,000 people. And that's where I see a lot of founders kind of hedging their bets, right? They want everyone to come first and then they build. I wanted a different approach. And so it took that long and it officially went live a year ago in February. where all the nuts and bolts were tight enough. It was in beta for a very long time. And yeah, having the idea sound enough where people can experience it, see what it's about. That's where I wanted it to be first before we got to this point and speaking to you.
Well, I'm glad you're speaking to me. I wanna go back to what's the calculator mean?
So the patented calculator is this idea around the fact that we all change. We change frequently. We change year to year. We change month to month. We change over a meal. And the brands that we interact with, they don't have this information. So giving everyone access to their own size calculator allows for change to happen more fluidly. So before you make the conscious decision to purchase anything, you update your calculator. And the way the platform works with the calculator is we'll do the running for you. We'll do all the sorting for you. So everything you see on our platform is curated based on your physical measurements.
Wow. So, like, well, I know as being a woman, like, I mean, it can fluctuate pretty, pretty good, over the seasons and or even the month. Um, and so your calculator takes in that, like, that fluctuation.
Well, it doesn't take it in. You put it in. You adjust the change, and we recommend people to update their changes at least 2 to 3 times a year, depending on how frequently you change. And a big part of what I'm realizing too in conversations with our clients is we shop usually on this phantom image of ourselves. And what I mean by that is we buy when we were fit, or we buy when we were the perfect specimen in college. And there's always this ideal vanity number, right? The number two, or I'm always medium, or that never changes. And when we buy these things, we put them on, it doesn't fit, we get upset and we return. So this idea of being conscious, one, about where you are today in size, in career, wherever you are, is
Yeah.
a big part of what we're offering.
Well, and I know with my own closet, like this, the the manufacturers have messed with sizing. Like a size four is not a size four from 10 years ago. It's not.
Well, and yeah, and it's never been that either, even 10, 20 years ago. Like the whole sizing idea came about during World War II.
Mhm.
So the army started creating uniforms for soldiers, so they needed to systematize it. So they created the small, medium, large approach. And for a short while, brands adapted that. So there was a universal system. It wasn't perfect, but it was universal.
Mhm.
And they started seeing the shortcomings of this and they abandoned the universal system and they took their own size charts in house. And that's what you're seeing today. So you're seeing brands with their own labels, with their own size charts. And this is why nothing matches, nothing fits. And vanity sizing, by the way, it's called that for a reason. The brands are literally playing on the vanity of their clients.
Oh,
The bigger
so
you are, especially in luxury brand, the smaller the number is. They
oh,
want you to feel good. So if you are, let's say, plus size, and typically you wear size 10 or 12 dress,
yeah,
the higher you pay for that dress, and I'm not going to call brands just to be
yeah.
diplomatically correct, the 10 can be a 4, or it may even be a 3. Like the vanity of playing with that number for their clients to feel better is the game that's being played.
That's retarded.
It's the business.
I
And
know, but so I so appreciate knowing this side of the business because I remember I had lost a fair significant amount of weight a few years back, and I'd gone into the store to go, okay, well, I'm going to get a smaller size. Like I've lost, like at the time was 50 pounds, and I was the same size. And I'm like, I said, now I have proof you guys mess with our heads. right? And even with shoes too, right? Like my entire life since I was 12 years old, I've been a 9.5. At one point, I went up to a 10.5, and now I'm back to a 9. I'm like, I'm a 9.5. Like, I don't care what you guys call it, I'm a 9.5. But it's frustrating, and in my case, thank God, I've never had a bad body image. I've never worried about what, like, the scale or this. Like, I want to know that it fits. I want to know that I'm not looking like ugly going out there, especially if I'm going to an interview or to meet new clients or whatever, right? Like, I just want it to fit. I don't care what size. Take the labels off, right? I don't care if it's Target or Coco Chanel. Like, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
Right.
Um, so so do you believe that the way you were brought up is gave you the understanding that this is something you could do? Because I love your perspective on it. Like, you know, um, and I think you have a very clear and what's the word? Yeah, just a clear, precise way of looking at it rather than like, who cares what the number is? Feel how it feels on. Like if I put on this shirt and it doesn't feel good, it's not for me. Like, because you're gonna buy it and it's gonna go in your closet.
Yes, to answer that question, it had everything to do with it. I mean, I don't think I would have this advantage if I wasn't raised the way I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, there is another component to it. So there is a bravery component to it because it's such a large problem and so many other have tried and failed. And yeah, stepping into the ring to say, I want to help and figure this thing out just based on my own experiences and what I've learned professionally is the combination of where we are today.
But I think your perspective is also um, the same as I do with my coaching. Is that I don't care whatever people say. It's find your truth, right? My truth put on you is not your truth. It might be good advice, it might not be good advice, but that doesn't really matter. It's like it's your truth. And so you're saying, I'm gonna take out all the misinformation and oh it's a size 4, but really it's a size 8. And like find like who cares what the number is? Find your truth of it fits me. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to love it. It won't be a waste of money. And I learned this from a ex coworker of mine years ago. Was I'm like, you paid how much for a pair of jeans? Right? And she says, I'd rather pay $300, have them altered for me, know I'm going to wear them every day, and then they're going to become rags when they fall off me, than buy 10 pairs for 40, $50 that I'm never going to wear. They don't fit right. I'm not happy. And I was like, well, when you put it that way, I was kind of brought up that way, right? Buy smart, buy once, wear it till it falls off.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. And so I've been speaking to a lot of sustainable activists, fashion designers, just people that I've been meeting across networking events, alignable online,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of things that I've learned, especially what you're mentioning, is even the idea of the capsule closet, right? Like this is new to me, and I started putting it together once started gathering enough information. But the capsule closet is a direct invention of underserved families and homes. And what I mean by that is because you can't afford to get all the new items, you can't afford to have a closet bursting with all the new trends and brands. You have your one pair or two pairs of shoes, and you have the black shirt with the blue shirt and the one having the ability to experience that and being versatile and showing up with only the few pieces that you have, but looking new every time you show up is an invention of underserved homes.
Yeah.
And I think a part of what we're saying is that that is the inspiration, right? And now capsule closets are a thing. You know, people are looking for new ways to have variety and diversity because there's just not enough space in the closet to buy and keep all the stuff that we want.
Well, and I think well, I believe that's been around for a long time. They just called it different. Like it's called like I grew up with it being called your six basics, right? Your white shirt, your black shirt, your or whatever, right? Your colored shirt, and then you have your two pairs of pants and a skirt. You always have a pair of good, like for women, a good heel shoe that you can do every, right? Usually black because black goes with everything. Your flats goes with everything, and a pair of runners. Like so, you have things, and then you change it up by different jewelry, different ways to like earrings, whatever accessories that are usually less expensive. But even that has changed too because some of the accessories are becoming more expensive than the shirt, right? And so yeah, so like that's something if I was you to look into of like here's your basic closet. You can always add pieces in, but the black skirt, black pants never change. The white t-shirt underneath the cardigan, the sweater, the scarf, the whatever never changes.
Well, that's exactly what we teach. Yeah,
Yeah.
we teach the concept of expanding how you choose and where the things that you already have. Like the 80-20 rule applies to this, the Pareto rule, where we
Mm-hmm.
only wear 20% of our clothes 80% of the time. So the philosophy and our mission is let's examine what that 20% looks like and start expanding on that. Like,
Yeah.
why do you have 80% of stuff that you're not wearing or engaging with or is collecting dust? So we can find new creative ways to incorporate that with a 20 or donate the 80 and start growing from the 20. That's exactly what we do.
Or find a really good seamstress
Or find a really good
that
seamstress.
that
Or,
can
right,
make it work or
exactly.
redesign it to something else. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it because it's we work really hard for our money and we don't want to like we don't want to just throw it away anymore, right? With this closet full collecting dust. And we're like, yeah, like and now, I mean, how many of us are even going out that much? Because all of us are working at home. So really, we only need
Oh, but
four.
and that's the thing. It doesn't stop there, and people they challenge me on that all the time. Like they'll ask me what I do, and I tell them they're like, "Well, I work from home, so I wouldn't need your service." I'm like, it's not about dressing up to go out. Like we have this idea that we have to dress up for others.
Mm-hmm.
What about for you?
Yeah.
It changes how you feel. It changes how you approach things. It doesn't even matter if you're, yeah, if you're, waist up on a Zoom call, your attitude changes if you're in your underwear and flip flops versus dress shoes and jeans or like it changes.
Yeah.
And so that's the narrative that we're trying to share with everyone. Like dressing up isn't for others, it's for you.
Yeah. Well, that's funny that you said that because I was on a call the other day and I was like, oh, look at how fancy you are. And she goes, I felt fancy today, so I had to dress it. And I go, awesome. That's great.
That's it. That's
Well,
exactly.
and the thing is like when you get dressed, in the morning, like you're coming to work and whatever, you also, when you're in your sweatpants, will tend to go, oh, I think I need something to eat. Oh, I think I need something to eat. And you graze all day instead of just going and having a meal because your sweatpants are keeping you comfortable, right? So then it brings, well, what's that expansion size that you need, right? Like if everyone's always in leggings and stretch pants, like, then you wonder why I'm like North America is becoming huge.
Right.
I agree. Like, I mean, when I'm out, I can't believe that everyone's just in sweat and leggings and from young and old. Like what happened to dressing? What happened to getting ready for the day? You know, and even with men, like you'll see a man like in a three-piece suit, and you're just like, holy Dinah, where are you going? Like it looks so nice because you just don't see it.
Right.
You know, so or the men that buy the suit at 22 for whatever occasion, and they're still wearing it at 52 or 62. And it's like, wow, you haven't gained an ounce, eh? Nope.
And I think that's a part of the platform is to help educate and inform people about
Mm-hmm.
these decisions that we make. The thing is, the clothing is the most tangible thing we have to our personal brand. Like there's nothing else besides, your resume or what you're telling a friend that even comes close, right? Like
Yeah.
you put it on, you're telling that story of who you are, what you've been, what you're trying to achieve, how you're feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, no one dresses up in a suit to binge watch Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So it speaks and it transforms who we are, and that's the thing. Like it becomes this thing where it's so normal that it becomes invisible.
Right.
So instead of ignoring it and just taking it for what it is, or only having the suit that you had from high school or college, or only grabbing the suit when you need to do the interview, or if we start thinking about these things, I mean, granted, we should think about them every day. Like we show up every day in some capacity, in some place.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the questions we have when we see others in public and they show up the way they do, right? It's where was the mirror? And and
Yeah.
and I think this is the concept. Like, yeah, we can look good going to Publix. You can look good going to the post office. Like we don't always have to be leisure.
Well, that's a good point you brought up about looking in the mirrors because I know many people that don't have a big mirror. If they're looking at their face, like it's basically the Zoom look, right? They can't look at their whole body in the mirror. And I'm like, why not? Well, why would I want to do that? That's scary. And I'm like, oh, right. And so, like, so it's bringing us back to the self love and feeling worthy and appreciating our bodies for the miraculous beings that they are, right? And if you only look at your shoulders up for your whole life, like what a shame.
And you brought up a good point. Is it's a big part of it is self-love.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us don't embrace it enough. So yeah, what we're talking about is difficult for anyone that can't love who they are. And
Yeah.
this is it. If you're spending most of your time comparing your body, who you are to other people, celebrities, things that you see, this is the harm that's being done. So the narrative is if I can't look or be like that, I won't even make an effort.
And we all know that everything in magazine and print and stuff is all airbrushed anyway, so they're not real. Just be your real authentic self. So do you work with colorist people? Like to get the right tones to get like so when you're when you're trying to style somebody or to work with somebody for their best fashion, um do you do the color palette too? So then that's one
We
more step
do, yeah.
closer. Yeah.
We offer a series of services. We offer a skin tone evaluation. We offer a face shape analysis. We offer any type of service that will help you better understand who you are. So the palette conversation is more around, again, it's not to say that if you wear a certain color, you won't look good or feel good. It's just saying based on the history of design and
Hmm.
color theory and knowing how things work and like there are structures to these things.
Hmm.
So fashion consultants have been doing it for years, brands have been doing it for years, but it seems like consumers draw a line there, right? Where like we want to leave that to the experts. So if we start educating our clients on how to pick the right colors for whether you're a cool undertone or warm undertone, and
Hmm.
these are the colors that will make you look fresh and happy and energetic, it does work. And we've
Yeah.
had clients that came back afterwards and applied these things and they love it. Like I actually closed my last client on a lineable a few weeks ago, and we remain friends. We still run into each other in Smart Connects, and seeing the transition before and after is incredible. And the thing is, like, when you see someone apply the recommendations that we've made and you see it work and you see them embracing it, it changes everything. And the example I'm sharing is one of our clients, she needed help with figuring out what tones work best for her. She was going to travel, so she wanted like a fresh look.
Yeah.
And because of her skin tone, we kind of helped her quickly on this. We told her that like purples and violet will enhance your color. It will give you more of a
Okay.
and yeah, the last time I saw her on a Smart Connect, she was purpled out. Like she had shades of purple, but she did it really subtle and it was working. And I mentioned it to her. I was like, "You're rocking it." And she's like, "Thanks. I feel really comfortable." And I'm like, "It's working." So yeah, like these things again, they're not magical. It's just they're knowledge gatekeepers that block this information from most. And what we're trying to do is just open the floodgates and show everyone the possibilities and embracing who they are.
I would just want the listeners to understand too, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. It's not an overhaul. It's a tweak here, a tweak there, and then you start seeing, oh, like how that one client was like, just add some purples, some different shades of purple, and it'll bring out the different things in your natural state, right? And I also know, like, from my own experiences, that doing your colors without makeup is a totally different scheme to when you have makeup, because when you don't have makeup it brings out your natural color, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so
And the funny thing is, yeah, like the hint of color that she wore was a lipstick and a top. Like that was it. Like it wasn't overdone and the two shades complemented each other. So yeah, I mean, that was just one part of her entire consultation. So to your point, she just took one piece of that and she also went shopping and did some other stuff. I wasn't sure if the top was new or she shopped her closet, but
yeah,
yeah, these are the things. And once you start embracing these minor details, you'll realize that the decision making process is easier. You'll always have something to learn.
yeah. Well, and I've met other people too that do the color palette, that it's like a little wallet size, um like it looks like a card holder, but you go through and you can flip and you can get all the different colors, the different shades, the different, right? So when you are shopping on your own and you, after the consultation, you're not feeling like, oh my gosh, what did they say and how did they say it, and you just take it out and you go, I need these shades, like, right? And so that's helpful, right? So you don't feel like you're alone in this big world of all this new information. Like, you're still being supported in these shopping ideas. And like you said, it's a lipstick color. It's not a huge thing, right? Even if that's one thing that someone can add into their daily routine of just change different colors, of lipstick. They're not that expensive. You know, you don't have to go and spend hundreds of dollars on a new outfit or whatever. And because you started out with a grandmother that was altering clothes, this doesn't mean we're going. You have to go new either. You can go to the thrift shops or the secondhand shops and find that next best complementary thing to add to your closet if people are on a budget. And um, yeah, so that's very cool. I love that you're doing this. And um, it just reminds me like of the old like Italians, right? Who, the shopkeepers that were like Geppetto and his shoes, right? Like he's like making the right shoe. No, that's not the right shoe. That's not the right shoe. And you're like, you don't have your measuring tape around, but you're like, nope, that shirt doesn't work, right? But that lipstick really does, or whatever, right? Or you know, and I think I hope it's going to bring people back into taking care of themselves, especially coming out of the last 4 years that, we dress for ourselves, we don't dress for outside. And if, like, the person I met the other day had to dress fancy, hats off to you. If you want to wear a three-piece suit to a Zoom meeting, hats off to you, right?
Right.
So, so how did the digital, like, how did your other job, your profession, help prepare you for this? Was it because the graphics, the colors, the
So it helped prepare me in many ways, actually. So the role of a creative director is not just about design, but it's about strategy before design. It's thinking through all the layers of a brand voice or a personal voice or professional voice, whatever the statement is, the creative direction aids in making that story colorful. And what I mean by that is we're visual creatures,
mm-hmm,
and understanding the rules, the templates, the things that work in design, because believe it or not, design have rules, right? Like people think that, or most people that I speak to think that being a creative, you're free and you can do whatever you want and you color outside of the line. And in most cases, some instances, yes, those things do happen. But if you look at the real successful designers and creatives, they use the rules. They use grids, they use color wheels, they use analogous charts, there are all these recipes in the toolkit for us to use, not only for our own professional purposes, but at the end of the day, it is a job. And the job is how well can you communicate a message?
mm-hmm.
And if that message visually isn't communicated well, you're not going to accept it. You won't buy it because the voice of the brand, the voice of the person doesn't align with what's in front of you. So when you have the perfect storm of all these things coming together, the individual, the brand, the colors, the copy, the thing, it feels good, it feels complete. And that's it. So learning and understanding these things. And by the way, like you're always learning. There's always something new. There's always refreshing on what you thought you mastered. And continuing that, getting better at it is the thing that allowed me to be brave enough to take the step into building this product.
And I sure hope the designers of the forward world will start thinking like how you do. Of of just don't put it out because of mass production. Like who's it serving? Right? Like I see store upon store like of the same thing, different colors, and it's like it doesn't fit anybody. right? And so, like, what's the point of putting all this stuff out? And then you, like, how we started this conversation of like $800 billion of returns. Where's all that stuff going? Our landfill?
What was the question?
No, like I'm just saying, like, there's not really a question of more of. I hope more designers think like you, like make less of the t-shirt that's only going to fit these type of bodies. So we don't have all those billions of dollars coming back to the store to go to the landfill. I don't know what stores do with their returns, but I'm just.
Oh, I can tell you exactly what they do with the returns. So one luxury brand was fined in 2018 for burning inventory, and a part of that decision was to keep demand high and product low. And most of the time for fast fashion, and fast fashion is the big culprit here in some of the environmental impacts that we're seeing, it's too cheap to resell. And what that means is if you buy it and you said it's too small, too big, and you want to return it, 35% of the time it gets thrown out to the landfill because the cost of repackaging, shipping, putting it back on the shelf, selling it is too much of an overhead for that one product for them to make a profit. So it's ending up in the deserts of Chile, Atacama. There was a satellite image recently that showed that we can see fast fashion waste from space. So it's a huge problem. It's not only in Chile, it's in India, it's in Africa, it's everywhere. So yeah, it's going somewhere, but not where it needs to go. And the fact that it's being poorly made, the reuse factor isn't even there. Like it becomes tissue paper the minute it leaves the warehouse.
And that's crazy because if there's so many stores of like secondhand or Goodwill, or why can't they give them to Goodwill?
So Goodwill has a problem. They're having way too much donations that they don't have enough hands to sort through them. So there's a
Oh,
staggering number that talks about the millions of tonnage that Goodwill they're getting, and they're not able to sort through them. And the stuff that they're sorting through doesn't have a second life. So they're ending up just throwing it out as well. So there is a supply and demand chain problem that's going on where we're overproducing. People are buying, but they're not keeping the products as long as they need to.
oh, I never. Yeah, I guess I kind of knew about the Goodwill thing, but I thought um it was just local.
No, it's international. Like
Yeah,
even the
I
stuff we try
never
to
thought
send.
like it was
Yeah.
like. Well, they keep on building more stores, so I figured, well, they must have a use.
Oh, they have a use to make profit. This is exactly why you're seeing it. So they're not having a problem making money. They're selling clothing. And I mean, some of the most popular stores that represent these fast fashion brands, they're coming out with a new line every 3 to 6 weeks. So there is new products being made every turn that we make, and people are buying them. So it's not only a brand thing, and this is a part of what we try to share is we can't rely on the brands and government to make these changes. We
Oh
have
yeah.
to start making the changes. Like we don't have to buy every time we need to go to a new event.
Well, and that's a eye opener for me too, because I was like, I know technology, everyone has to have the latest, greatest, whatever. And you're saying it's happening in the fashion world too. We don't need it because how many of us are replacing our closet even once a year? Like there is a lady, she was a closet organizer, and she was saying every time you wear something, you turn the hanger the other way. That means you're using it. If the hanger hasn't moved to the other side, You haven't used it. It's got to go because throughout for the whole year, that every single one of those hangers should be turned around that you've used it in that year. And if it hasn't turned around in that year, you're not wearing it because you've gone through 4 seasons.
And a big part of that too is the miseducation, right? We tend to buy trends. We want to buy things that everyone else has. And what's happening there is you buy it, you try it, it doesn't work for you, and it stays there. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's this sunk cost fallacy where, oh, I bought it for too much or I spent too much. So the idea is, or what I'm thinking through while I'm saying this is the logic is if I spent so much on it, the longer I keep it, the more I'll get my value out of it, even though you're not wearing it. So it's past the point of return,
Yeah.
and it's also encroaching on waste because if I throw it out now, I just threw out like $300. And so this is what we're all combating, right? It's like how do I not feel guilty about buying something that wasn't even meant for me in the first? So
Yeah.
it's a moving target, and these are the things that a lot of people struggle with. They don't really know the answers to it. So because you don't know the answers, you don't know how to address them, you don't know how to resolve them, you keep doing them. So it's not one trend. Over the course of the year, it could be 25 trends. So now you're adding to that 80% of stuff that you never wear because you were just buying into a trend.
Yeah. Well, I used to I'd try it on and whatever in the store, for instance, and then say, I gotta think about it. Can you put it behind the counter? Sure. And then I'll go back to the store before I leave the the mall or whatever, and I go, still not sure. And they said, well, keep it till 4 tomorrow. Okay, thanks. And if I don't go back, it wasn't meant to be. I wasn't because if it's meant to be, I don't have that second guessing. It's like, yeah, I'm buying it. Yep, if it's good. Yep, go and pay for it. And I go right down to like pajamas that are like $5. I can go through the bin and find $5 pajamas. I'm like, and I'll try them on. Nope, they're not mine. And like, right? And it's not the money per se. It's if I have to think about it to buy it, it's not for me.
So you know where a lot of the shopping habits come from? It comes from being bored. It
Mm-hmm.
comes from being normal. And it just comes from having something to do. We're not shopping for clothing anymore with a purpose, right?
Yep.
And sometimes there is the purpose, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
purpose is usually very frivolous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's not the oh, I need to get a jacket just to have a universal jacket for important events. We're not thinking foundational anymore on how we get dressed. And so fashion now has become kind of this disposable item, right? Like it's Kleenex. I grab one, I use it, I throw it out. And so because of the nature of that, we're not embracing the product that's in front of us. We're not falling in love with it. We're not seeing it as something that represents who we are. It's, I'm just going to get it for this one night because I need to hang out with my friends or I need to go do this thing. And after that, you forgot that you bought it and it stays in that 80% pile. Or you try to return it through bracketing or wardrobing and it ends up in a landfill somewhere.
Yeah, that makes me sad. Um, and I think it's not only just fashion; it's everything. It's like we're we're not present buying groceries. We're not present when we're out with people. We're not present in most of our lives right now. And it's like bringing us back to being present and centered in our bodies, like how you said about coming to school. Like you're dressed. You don't have to fidget. You did like it fits you, so you can pay attention to what you're supposed to be learning, right? And I find like we're so overstimulated that we're not present in anything, right? We're not present with our conversations. We're not present when we're eating. We're not present with what our fashion is, right? Because it's like, how can someone go into their closet and say, I have nothing to wear when it's full? It's busting at the seams, right? And you look at people that, are struggling and don't have the money and they're trying to put clothes on their kids and they're not busting at the seams. Their closets have five little outfits. They get recycled.
And because there's no option. And by the way, like what we're talking about is not only a closet philosophy, it's a known scientific proven study, and it's called the paradox of choice.
Mm-hmm.
It just means we're overwhelmed or
Mm-hmm.
analysis paralysis. You can dice it however you'd like, but I mean, we see this in how we, watch TV. Like a lot of people sit in front of Netflix all the time and say there's nothing to watch. And there are thousands of titles on Netflix.
Yeah.
A lot of people have cable TV with 3,000 channels and there's nothing to watch.
Yeah.
So you can start seeing this same practice in other areas of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing with the closet is that really rings true for most, and this is why we feel this way about it and how we dress is it's emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Clothing has a way of telling stories that nothing else can. Like it can teleport you back to when you wore your high school jersey.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I mentioned this tie,
Yeah.
like this is my tie from high school. Like it just, this is, so this is one of the 80% that we encourage where it's still functional. A tie doesn't take up space.
Yeah.
And this is from my high school, and I will always remember it because the logo of the high school is there's a quote or it's kind of their brand and
Yeah.
it's Latin. It says Age Quadragis,
Mm-hmm.
and what it means in Latin is whatever you do, do it well. So when you keep pieces like this isn't the 80% we're talking about. What we're talking about is the garbage bag filled with old t-shirts that you'll never wear again, or they have a stain on them, or you've outgrown a jacket or a dress, like the big pieces that will never be worn again. Like, so those are the things we want people to kind of revisit. And the idea of these pieces being a time capsule, they're real. And this is a part of why it's so difficult for us to separate ourselves from it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
some of the pieces might be something your grandmother left, or it could be something from your wedding day. And then by no means we're telling people to get rid of their memory. We're just telling them to rethink how it can be used, or does it need to stay? Our purpose is this, right? It's to have people understand that the closet, and this is an analogy that I use a lot, and I think it makes sense. No one has ever debated me on it yet, so I'm still going to use it until then. But it is a time capsule. It simultaneously holds past, present, future. And the problem with this analogy is we tend to live more in the past and we aspire to the future, but we're not living in the
Present.
now. We're not here in the present. So that's the reflection that it gives us. And this is why it feels emotionally turmoil or turbulent because we're stuck. We're not sure where to be, how to dress, and how to step out with that confidence.
Well, and I know like some of the people who quilt, they've been doing different quilts with like grandparents' clothes and people that have passed on or nearing passing on for the babies to come. So their baby blanket is wrapped up with the love of their elders. So it's a different way, right? But yeah, we got as a world, we got to start figuring out how to be present and stop buying the next latest and greatest. And like you think about all these people who are, save the planet, save this. Well, we can save all the places that we keep on sending all our extra clothes to that are going in their landfills because we're shipping it off. Like that I didn't know about. So I'm glad you told me, but kind of wish I didn't know. um, wow, this is fascinating. So is your grandmother still around to see the success you're having?
Oh no, she's not around. She passed away or transitioned a long time ago when I
Okay.
was younger, around 13, 14. So yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, she's still with you.
Absolutely, every day.
Yeah, she's still helping you. So, yeah, but I mean, it's just different, right? It's a different acknowledgement of that. She's seeing what you're taking from, her helping you look good for school to now you're
Right.
helping the world look good every day.
I'm not close to the world yet. Small communities, businesswomen, eventually the world.
One step at a time.
Baby steps.
Yeah. And that's the whole point, right? And especially like as an entrepreneur, we have to realize that the dream is big, but if we don't take the steps, we're going to trip, we're going to fall, we're going to, right? We just take the steps to move forward and we will get to that big vision dream, right?
Absolutely.
So, as we wrap this up, what do you want the listeners to know about you, size wise? Like,
I mean, what do I want them to know that they haven't already heard?
yeah,
Size-wise, started as a project that I thought I could use as a selfish act to play with technology. And I got to be honest with you. And there's other parts to it, right? So growing up, I've always pulled things apart, put them together. I mean, if you had a radio, don't put it near me. I would definitely get the screws and the Phillips and I'd go in and I'd solder stuff. Like that was always my thing. And
okay,
I saw technology as an escape to that, where I like challenging myself with difficult tasks. And the real inception of Size Wise was me collecting friends and family sizes and saving them into a note app because I like gifting clothing. But people change. So it wasn't sustainable to keep getting people size. It got unruly. And I figured if everyone had the system that I used, it would be easier. So that's kind of where the concept came from was instead of me collecting everyone's sizes, why not everyone manage their own size? And that way gifting could be easier. You could share your lookbook or your calculator information with a tailor or a seamstress, and it would just make it effortless for us to embrace the personal brand without the hurdles of calling grandma in Idaho, figuring out what her size. Like this is the
yeah,
thing that we go through every season, right? Like
yeah,
your nephew, your niece, what size are they now? So size is always a part of the conversation, and this is it. It's designed to fulfill those needs. So buying clothing now can be a real surprise. Like I don't have to call Adele and ask her what her measurements are because the minute I say that,
yeah,
you know what the gift is. It's a giveaway.
yeah.
And yeah, getting the Hawaiian shirt that will sit in the 80% is what we want to get rid of as well. Like, I'm not sure how many men have Hawaiian shirts for Father's Day. We want to eradicate that as well.
Well, they got to
So
keep one though.
What's
There's
that?
always a Hawaiian party once a year somewhere.
There's always, but yeah, that's it. We just need one, not 5 dozen. So yeah, this is it. It's meant to be a fashion playground. You come, you meet with coaches, you play with technology, and the thing I've always shared is size-wise is meeting people at the intersection of sustainability, fashion, and technology. And as we continue to grow, those pillars will be equally weighted. We're giving people tools, we're giving them access, we're giving them information. And even on our social, like you'll see how we communicate. It's a virtual style companion. If you
Yeah.
follow us, you'll see that the information that we're given is helping the general public in understanding what are these rules? What are we
Yeah.
talking about with the 80/20 and set how to fold your clothes, how to think about color, how to all these are just kind of breadcrumb to lead you into better decision making. Our blogs are written that way as well. And yeah, we're still new. People, they seem to like the idea a lot on the surface. So we've been getting the awareness out and we're just slowly growing.
Well, and I think your approach is desperately needed. Just because of who I've had around me. Like I grew up with a family who knew how to sew, knew the right style, knew how to dress. Um, and I just like, I don't know. I guess I took it for granted. And and now it's like seeing the younger generations like in you coming up going, no, like we got to get back to this. We got to get like put on the tie when it's required, put on the dress shirt. Like not every day is a t-shirt need to be worn, right? And dressing for self, not for others, right? Because there's nothing worse than going into an upper like a more fancy restaurant, the ripped t-shirt, the ripped jeans, and I'm like, really, you couldn't have put on a collar for a nice date with your spouse?
And listen, like a big part of what we do is we try not to have people feel guilty about their decisions because what I've realized is they just didn't have access to the information. They don't know what they don't know. And even though it's still kind of uncharted territory for most, it's kind of guarded uncharted territory. It's sensitive. Like
Mm-hmm.
people and sizes and body measurements and it's super sensitive. And I didn't realize that going in when I first started. And yeah, we've had sessions where clients cried because professionals were telling them not to look at their size. So imagine trying to figure out what fits you best, but you can't look at a size. And it's so emotionally sensitive, like it, it was challenging. So I've learned to speak in terms where everyone feels welcome and
Mm-hmm.
not judged about their decisions, where they are in their journey,
Mm-hmm.
and just help them through that because where you are today
Mm-hmm.
is not where you're going to be tomorrow.
Well, and but in a way, I do agree with don't look at the size because like we've started the conversation of a four isn't a four. A four could be a 10 or a four could
You're
be a
right.
zero.
Yeah, and let
So
me
so
clarify that.
if yeah, so if you're in a store like say Nordstrom's, whatever, right, and the person is bringing in sizes, well, this won't fit me. It's a four, and it's like, but it might.
Right. And just to clarify that, when I say sizes, I'm not talking about the sizes of the brands. I'm
Yeah,
talking about your own physical sizes.
yeah.
So knowing what your inseam is, knowing what your bust is, knowing what your neck is, like these
Mm-hmm.
are foreign ideas to most.
I know.
And yeah, and so yeah, when I say not, those are the sizes. A lot of people ignore them because they're not comfortable with where they are. So they just rather ignore them. So the brand sizes, yeah, they know those things. And these are the phantom selves and images and products that they're trying. And so that's the distinction, right? And I'm glad you mentioned that. I need to revise how I
Well,
share that. But it is
well,
your physical size.
yeah, and just to iterate back to this landfill, I know so many people that would never try anything on in the store. Why? Well, I don't want anyone to see it. And I'm like, well, then don't come out of the change room. So they take it home, try it on, it doesn't fit. And it's like, then they take it back. Well, it's going to the landfill. So now I know that no one is coming shopping with me ever again and not trying it on in the store
There you go. Or
because
you
it's like,
invite them to
yeah,
Size Wise Closet Coach and
well,
have them
that's
make
true.
better decisions, whether they're in store or online.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so that just makes the point too about the online shopping, right? So you buy 10 things, 9 go back. Those don't go restock. Those go to landfill.
30% of it might end up in the landfill, correct?
Oh
And listen,
God.
don't take my word for this. Like, we all have access to the internet. This information is
I
there. The
know.
reason most consumers don't see it, it's because fashion is fashion. It does a really good job of branding itself, and it's not going to share these narratives. It's going to share what the new trend is. So yeah, this information is clear. It's out there. There was a protest recently in front of one of the Shein stores about their practices and how they do things. And I'm not even getting into like the whole slave
Yeah.
labor of how you can get a t-shirt for $3, right? Like, these things are real, and unless we start seeing them for ourselves or being proactive about finding the information, it will always be foreign.
Wow. This has been enlightening on on all fronts. Like I had no idea the returns. I had no idea the landfill. Um, yeah, we got to be more conscious of all of our decisions and present in our decisions, whether it's clothes, food, anything. Anyways, it was a blessing having you on the show. You said you had an offer for the listeners?
Yes, thanks
Yes.
for bringing that up. So I will give you a gift card so you can leave it in your show notes for your listeners, and they can get at least a 30% off any one of the services. Uh, you can find us at sizewiseclosetcoach.com. And the way we have the services broken down, they're in time blocks. So think about accessing a professional at any time. We have it broken down from 15 minutes all the way up to 8 hours, broken down in different sessions where
Oh, okay.
it can help you with a quick assessment where we can help you identify your body type and give you a quick analysis, or we can help you with traveling. Recently, we created a new package because a client came to us, and you know how some people how they pack for 3 months for a 3 day trip. Yeah, we've designed a service and we call it the capsule suitcase, so we can help you pack for your trip sustainably. And yeah, the idea was to democratize access to this type of information and expert advice so people can make better decisions.
That's fantastic. Because I know some of those people. I'm like, we're going for 4 days. What are you doing? I need it all. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So, everyone, this is Authentic Conversations presented by Transition Clarity. I'm your host, Adele. Thank you, Damon Parsons from Sizewise Closet Coach, for joining us. Have a good day.
Thank you for having me.